And we're live. Yes, awesome. Hey, guys. It's Old Man G here, and we're back with another 100% Manchester United podcast. I'm joined today by Shane of the United Man. Please head over to his channel. Two sweet links in the description. A lot of very, very, very good stuff out there. We're missing Draco and Kieran today, so but by all means, check out their channels as well. I hope they're doing well. But we've got a lot to talk about. Obviously, the main topic being Manchester United obviously beating City 2-0 and our reaction to that, as well as a few other things down the line. So I think first of all, we're going to get stuck into it and basically just what are results. Shane, obviously, both of us were there yesterday, as you can see in their respective channels. How do you feel like now? Are you over it, or like how do you feel, Shane? Like
I'm not over it. I'm not over it. I'm not. Listen, for this. But I think it's a sort of like a three-headed monster because we've beat them obviously home and away, and we've also beat them in the cup as well. And it's just this thing I keep making a big deal of the clean sheet thing, because to me that's massive. We're doing it against. We've done it against Tranmere, Watford, and teams like that. But because we're doing it against the bigger sides, obviously it means more. And the run that we're on, it means more. The position that we're in to go and try and chase top four, it means a lot more. So for me, it's brilliant. And no, it's not left me yet. The giddiness hasn't left me. And I won't let it until we come up against City again. And if they beat us, I won't let it go. And I feel like Ollie has Pep's number. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. Maybe it might be the FA Cup final, So obviously, City still in the FA Cup. Who else is still in the FA Cup? Liverpool obviously were knocked out.
You got Liverpool. I'm glad. Yeah.
And Arsenal, I think, is still there as well.
Arsenal as well.
Yes.
Yes, they are. Yeah. They are. Yeah.
So you never know. It could be. It could potentially be a City United final, unless
wouldn't surprise me.
I just think that you're right. Like he seems to have Pep's number. He's beaten them 3 times already this season, and someone asked me this. I was like, has there been a manager that has beaten Pep twice, home and away, in one season? And I'm talking across all of his clubs. Bayern Munich, Barcelona.
No, there hasn't been.
I can't think of any.
No. Barcelona and Bayern Munich, and obviously the Premier League. No, not both home and away. Yeah. Certainly not 3 times in one season. So that's what I mean. It's everything that it meant. It was huge, and I kept looking over to the missus saying, I can't believe we've done it. Do you know what I mean? So it's it's brilliant, man. And I'm just hoping it's not a bit of a fallacy and leads to nothing at the end of the season. Because of the run that we're on, as I say, and the huge we needed that win so much just to keep our season alive in terms of both Champions League football and momentum, and the fact that Bruno's coming in, he's done his thing as well, and the lift he's given to the club. The atmosphere in the stadium yesterday as well, as you know, was brilliant. So I just feel like we're just that win was so crucial to keep us going on an upwards trajectory. So I'm really, really happy, and I won't let that one go. Not until we come up against City again, and if they beat us, which I don't think they will. Like I said, I was positive in my estimations before the game, as were you. So I just feel like we're on a good course to keep our momentum going, keep chasing Chelsea. And it's just a shame that we don't have them in the league on the way to the end, because I feel like we have Chelsea's number as well, as we do a lot of the bigger teams, so called. So yeah, I feel like if we continue as we're going, we'll be absolutely fine. We'll be dandy.
Do you think? I mean, what would you say was your highlight of the game yesterday? Like, what did you think was like, right? Okay, this was like the standout like thing of the game that really was like what would you think? Before I tell you mine, because I have a few. What?
Okay, I was just gonna say probably to pick one out of yesterday. That's quite hard. One I'd have to say would be definitely when the right side just got shut down by Wan-Bissaka on his own. So you had Zinchenko, you had Mendy, and you had Sterling all having a go at him, and he just couldn't. They just
even
couldn't do anything
Mahrez when he came over. I think
Mahrez
came to the side.
Yeah, he tried as well. So, but now he's just immense, and I don't think people fully appreciate what he is and what he's doing, because people choose to look at what he can't do offensively. They're missing the trick in what he does defensively, and there's been no one like him for so long. And I keep banging that drum because I need people to understand and realize what a special defender we have on our hands now. So for me, it'd be Aaron Wan-Bissaka down that right side, and I've got to say it again, the atmosphere yesterday was really, really good. Atmosphere was brilliant. So yeah, that'd be my number one, Wan-Bissaka. But I just had to mention the atmosphere as well.
No, fair enough. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I think Wan-Bissaka doesn't get as much a love and appreciation. I think because he's been so consistent, I can't even think of, aside from maybe the Crystal Palace game early in the season, I can't think of any game really where Wan-Bissaka has had really a bad game. He's had a really bad game, and as you said, he had Sterling. I mean, the amount of sterlings in Wan-Bissaka's pocket, must be unreal, so pound sterling, it's my goodness. I mean, and you can see the frustration in his face, where you're like, there must be something going on, because the tackles are just like, you just can't get past him. Like, you just can't. You can't. And it's just funny because you see teams purposely then go down the left because they're like, we're not getting any joy down the right. We're going to go unless they get doubled up on. And that's the thing that's the only issue sometimes why I still think that we need a right winger, because what happens with Wan-Bissaka sometimes is that he'll then get doubled up upon. Two players will be on because they know they can't. One-on-one, no chance. Injury. But two people, obviously, he'll struggle. And when you don't have a right winger who can connect with him, it can be a problem. So I still think that's an area that we need to strengthen. I
think attacking wise, the right side is definitely an area that we need to look at, because technically on the right side, in terms of technical ability, offensively, we are still struggling. So Daniel James, technically and decision making wise, is still trying to improve. Technically, he's 22 now. Technically, if you're not really gifted technically at this age, you're not going to improve that much. But what he can improve on is his decision making. But yesterday was his first start for a while, so you can see he's a little bit rusty. But decision making he can improve on for sure.
I could see what they were trying to do with Daniel James, because I mean, on reflection, I imagine that what they were trying to do was, like, Daniel James is basically like a pace merchant. That's basically what Daniel James is, and essentially, it was a question of the amount of times when Daniel James ran at Otamendi, who was in no man's land a lot of the time, to cause him problems. I could see that as being his purpose. Like, right, okay, shout out to Raymond Moore. Hello, Red Devil Studio United, man. Great to see you guys. Shout out to you, man. Really appreciate
Raymond, what's going on, man?
But so from that point of view of just essentially causing the centre backs to be tired, then I can see what Daniel James did. But as you rightly said, to be honest, had Daniel James and Martial had a bit more decision-making prowess and football intelligence, we probably could have scored a few more goals, like 2-0 potentially. It could have been 4-0 with like a few simple passes, in space.
He missed a couple of open opportunities to square the ball, as did Wan-Bissaka when he beat Zinchenko, as did Martial when he got past Fernandinho, could have squared it to Bruno Fernandes. There was a couple, like you said, 3-4 nil it could have been, because we did miss opportunities to create or sort of make a simple pass for an open shot on goal, so to speak.
I think there's no doubt overall that United overall deserved to win the game. Even though at times I was, especially when, as I said to my mate once, I'm still a bit iffy about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tactics. Especially when I think it must have been was it the 80th minute? No, I think it was the 75th minute where he took off Martial and put McTominay on. And I was like, right, okay, we're not playing with a recognised forward.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
and it showed them though, didn't it, G? Let's be honest, it did show them, because like when we said after the game, we were saying that, like you said, in terms of tactically, very strange. Bearing in mind we also got Mason Greenwood on the bench, which for me, yesterday's game wasn't for him. It wasn't his time to play in that game.
No,
however, we did have Igalo on the bench who it was crying out for, because we needed the ball to stick for a little bit. And when he came on, the ball stuck.
Exactly.
You know, he's physically more powerful than the other strikers we have. He's very good at playing with his back to goal. And he was very calm.
But his touch. I mean, I had to watch it again on Match of the Day, you know. So, but the touch that he did, he obviously holding on the ball, and then the touch to obviously lay it off to Fred, and then obviously from that, the goal comes. I was like, man, this guy is, you know, if this is a what's it called again, an audition, you know, then he's putting himself certainly at least for a potential extension, maybe, you know, of his contract. I mean, I know there are a lot of people that are saying he shouldn't go overboard with regard with his age and stuff like that, but it's not
overboard. He's 30 years of age. He's got Premier League experience. He's a different type of striker. That I've been saying for the longest while, we need a different type of striker, someone who's older than the strikers we've got, because then it's not going to stifle the opportunities of Greenwood. But we do need a striker of an older age, an experienced striker who's physically different to what we already have. And Ollie, in my opinion, it's a bit of a masterstroke bringing in Igalo, because obviously he's over in China. He wasn't playing at the time. He's a massive Manchester United supporter, which I didn't realise until he was linked with Man United. So, you know, I think it's a bit of a masterstroke, and I think we need to give Ollie credit on that one, because we definitely. I've been saying for the longest while, we need a plan B. We need a different option, because we'd take off Martial or Rashford and bring on Greenwood, but he's the same type of player, making a similar type of runs. We need something different, and Igalo is playing with his back to the defenders, facing our midfielders or defence, and the ball goes into him, and the defenders bounce off his back, and he controls the ball. So you know, it's a bit of a masterstroke. And for me, as you said, as an audition, he's doing a brilliant job, and I wouldn't think it's remiss to say give him a 2-year deal. Give him a 2-year deal. He'll end up 32, 33 by the time the end of that deal finishes. He knows he's a rotational player or a backup player. He's not going to stifle the opportunities of Mason Greenwood. He's only going to add to Mason Greenwood's boat and Rashford's and Martial's, because they're all young strikers. Rashford's still 21, Greenwood's still 18, and Martial's 23, 24. So they're going to see a different type of striker in and around them every day, which they're only going to serve to learn from. So for me, keep him. There's no reason not to.
Yeah, no, fair enough, buddy. I completely agree. So without further ado, I think this the second topic, essentially, I'm calling the segment "Red Dawn Rising."
I love that.
I stole it from what did I steal it from? Was it the Daily Mail, Daily Mirror, or something like that? So I just saw it and I was like, yeah, this basically sums up.
I'm gonna have that.
Mine now. But this sums up for me I think the mood at Manchester United right now, and that, you know, are we seeing, you know, we are one of the most informed teams in 2020. We've basically been unbeaten in 10 games. Obviously 6 of those have been wins, and the rest being, I think 7 of them have been wins, just being draws.
7 draws,
and not to mention
2 goals conceded.
Exactly, the amount of clean sheets that we've had, it's
8
ridiculous.
clean sheets, and only one of those 2 goals, one shouldn't have been a goal anyway, and the other one was David De Gea, you know, giving Calvert-Lewin free shot, or not a shot, but ball ricocheting off him. So those we really and truly we shouldn't have conceded any goals in that run. And that's and it shows that, one, obviously defensively we're tight, and of course bear in mind that we played City and Chelsea in those runs as well, so they've not been all good teams. You know, where do you see? I mean, is this because I think there are a lot of United fans that are hesitant maybe to go down the Ollie's back, Ollie's at the wheel, it's a turn around. But considering that
only just about a month ago, everyone was saying Pochettino, he might get sacked. And obviously, I was even one of the people that was thinking, you know, is he really a long-term appointment? And I still think that we should wait till May to make a full informed decision. But my expectation at the beginning of the season, given the squad that we had going in at that time, and I posted like videos at the start of the season where I sort of said, with this squad right now, I see us getting fifth at best. Okay, right now we're fifth. Okay, so we've certainly achieved what my expectation would be. But if Ollie with this squad can not only get fourth place, which is a possibility, but also get a trophy in some capacity, whether that's the Europa League, whether that's an FA Cup, etc. I can't see him being sacked. I can't see him, especially with the momentum that's coming into this squad, and especially with the positivity around the fact that it's clear that we can beat big teams. You know, Solskjaer last season before he came, he beat Arsenal, he beat. I mean, even last season in that run, he beat Pochettino. We did beat Arsenal, if I recall. Yep. I don't think he beat Pep. I think we drew against.
We got a draw.
Yeah, we drew against Liverpool, I think, as well. But all the other teams around, I think we beat them. I think we beat Arsenal. We beat all the London teams.
We struggled against Wolves, didn't we, last season? Again, so quite definitely. A few times. So, definitely. But no, I feel like you're touching a good point. Then last season it was we similar thing. He could beat the big teams, but it's just the teams in and around the rest of the league that we struggled with, really, wasn't it?
I agree. It's what do you think this is our time? Is this us? Is this United turning a corner now? I mean, it's always so tempting to say it, you know. So, or is it that we're just in a good run of form like we were in Ollie's first 3 months in charge, and you know what I mean? It's taken this time, but we're there.
Very similar. Very similar to when Ollie took over. We've just brought in Bruno Fernandes now, and obviously Igalo. And I really feel as though we are riding off the back of that momentum of the successful sign of Bruno Fernandes, who we've all been awaiting for such a long time. But also Odion Igalo coming in, obviously a breath of fresh air because he's Man United through and through, wants to do everything he can for the shirt. That's a brilliant, again, I'll say it again, that's a bit of a masterstroke because the other professionals, and obviously we've got a young squad, they're seeing that. They're seeing how Igalo is coming in and what he's doing and how his mannerisms are. Likewise, Bruno Fernandes with his leadership qualities and professionalism. So all of that, yes, that's brought a bit of upscale in momentum, in enthusiasm. However, we're now attributing tactical awareness and some experience onto the other end of that. So as we've done before, we beat these bigger teams. But I think if we get in the professional victories or draws, like I feel like the Everton game last week, we would have lost that before because we would have panicked and for whatever reason, concentration would have gone. We'd end up conceding a second goal and losing 2-1. As it was, we end up, drawing, which I felt like the game was there for the taking early on, but for whatever reason, we didn't. But Ollie, as I said yesterday, I still don't believe long-term wise I'd have to be proven wrong on this one because as you said, it's a very similar run as when he first started, but the fall in between both of these runs was humongous, and I don't see the consistency yet. If we can go from now towards the end of the season, what is it, 9 Premier League games left? Then that would be consistent enough in terms of, I feel like we can only drop a couple more points, i.e. 2 draws maybe, in terms of the reason.
Well, we know that, like, if he does somehow get into Champions League, he's not going to be sacked anyway.
No, he won't. He won't.
That's not going to happen.
What I was saying yesterday as well, on another fan cam, was that if he finished outside of the European places and didn't win a trophy, for me, he wouldn't we wouldn't be able to justify keeping him, just purely because when have Man United not been in Europe and not won a trophy in the same season? To me, we've got to have standards where we keep him to, where people are saying, look at the signs he's made, which I agree are good, and I'll go one better than that, and I'll say, look at the players he's also gotten rid of. A lot of the dead wood that have been crying out for. That being said, when we're not being consistent, when we're not on a big run, the up and downs is just too great for us to say, look, he's the one for us to keep. So for me, at this point in time, yes, it's brilliant, the run we're on, but it wouldn't likewise your expectation would be 5th, but it wouldn't surprise me if we slip down to 6th or 7th, as has been the consistent nature of Ollie's tenure. This is our second big massive run, but there's only 2 or 3 results away from it being a disaster, and us being not winning a trophy and or finishing outside of Europe. So for me, I wouldn't say no. I'd still say, likewise, like you said, if he gets a trophy and qualifies for Europe, we're not going to sack him. However, if the shoe's on the other foot and we don't win a trophy and we don't qualify for Europe, for me, you can't. His position then comes untenable.
Fair enough. Just quickly, some comments. Joe Abraham, how good was the atmosphere, guys? It was amazing. It was. Were you at the game, Jordan? No, but it was fantastic. It was
brilliant.
Amazing atmosphere. I mean, I can't remember the last time we actually beat City at Old Trafford. I think it was 2016 under Van Gaal. So Mourinho didn't do it, and Ollie didn't do it. Was it last season when I think they came? So it was brilliant. Raymond Moore again says Manchester United haven't lost a game since Bruno joined. That is a very good point, and a topic that we should probably just briefly mention, and just the idea that what Bruno Fernandes has obviously added to Manchester United, because Raymond is right. Since he's come, we haven't lost a game, and in the Everton game, where, as you said, under normal circumstances we probably could have fallen in our shells, he obviously steps up, takes the game off Scupper's neck, and scores a brilliant goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like if we've got the opportunity to keep this run going based off Bruno Fernandes coming in, his leadership, as I say, he's orchestrating as well, which you can see on the pitch where he's directing traffic, if you like.
Don't forget, Pogba was also back coming up this week, so that's going to be, maybe that should be something we should talk about, actually. So because Pogba's back to training this week, he possibly might be fit for Spurs, but most likely next week. So suddenly we have a fully fit midfield, and we have you have obviously Fred, Matic, McTominay, Pogba, and Bruno Fernandes. You have 5 midfielders, and then you have
Don't forget Jesse Lingard. Don't forget Jesse Lingard. Man. Come on now. Come on.
Yeah. Sorry. I mean, it's I don't even. There's not even. Oh, sorry. Just his comments. Joe Abraham says Ollie is tactically brilliant against big teams, but crap against small teams. That's got to be the players' fault, not being motivated and bringing in the top quality players would change that. That is true. However, the Watford. I mean, the difference now is that now we'll see. But when you look at what happened against Watford, when you think, whoa, we were battered by Watford when we went there last time, and then now when they came to Old Trafford, we took them apart. And even Derby, who, in my opinion, are a much better team than Rochdale, Igalo was able to make a difference. There was some positivity generated there. We were able to beat them. There's clearly, at least in this short period, been some improvements, in our manner in which we're able to deal with some of those teams. And I think a lot of that comes with Bruno Fernandes. I also think a lot of that also comes from having a physical striker like Igalo, who isn't going to just suddenly fall down when there's defenders around him. It's going to hustle and it's going to work off the ball. And just something for Draco. Oh, Draco, shout out to you, man, buddy. Always good. You're doing well. So I couldn't join you guys as well. Keep up the great work. Much love. Mate, I hope you're doing well. If you guys are new listening, please go over to his channel and like and subscribe. He makes a lot of good content. We're looking forward to having you back on the podcast as well, man. Really, really do appreciate it. And thanks for stopping by, man.
Draco, man. Much love, man. Hopefully we can jump back on this one real soon, man.
Yeah, no, it'll be good, man. We need to do a proper video meetup at Old Trafford. I think it'll be really, really, really good.
That'd be really good. That'd be really good.
Just like, right, okay, or even if at one time, just have everyone over and just have a live watch along stream or something like that. Shane, you're hosting, so
yeah. I don't know that I was coming, man. Come on now.
Just get the missus.
I'll let you tell the missus then. How about that then?
I'll just say, I'll side with it on the A's, on the back of the lap, stuff like that. That win her over, So it's Newcastle, man, so boom,
Newcastle.
done.
Not Newcastle.
Not Newcastle, man. None of that. None of that. So problem solved, man. Problem solved. But yeah, man. I agree with you, and I just think that. I mean, what I would say though is that. This does also go again to backing, and I'm hoping that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is backed, and I think that it comes to squad at the end of the day, so it's not just about the starting 11, it's about, can we make this United squad good? Suddenly I'm looking at the United squad now and thinking, hang on a minute. In goal, we've got a good number one, good number two, so no need to go into transfer market. Centre backs, we've got a good range of centre backs. We don't really need to go into transfer market. We've got Bailly's there, Transibi's now back, Maguire's coming good enough. We've got enough to sort of be okay.
Left back
wise, Brandon Williams, Luke Shaw sort of competing with each other, so we're good there. Right back wise, Aaron Bissaka Solendalo is at least semi-decent for good as a good good backup. So the back five.
Dylan Levitt as well.
Exactly. So midfield, we've got obviously got 5 options right now. Pogba's back. If Pogba obviously goes, we'll be able to get money to get someone else in, like a Grealish or a Maddison. So midfield is relatively sorted. McTominay can maybe play the holding role. Maybe you could argue we should get another CDM like a Partey, but for now it's reasonable. So really, it's only really up top. Well, up top, you've got Rashford and Martial who can alternate on the left hand side, or can also be at top. So really, it's just the right hand side, and possibly another forward,
possibly a number 9 maybe.
That you're thinking, if we have those players, actually, we've got a reasonably complete squad to sort of, at the very least, compete at the top level. And bearing in mind, this team has already beaten likes of PSG and Juventus already. Let alone the cities, so we could be going places. You know what I mean?
It's not about getting too far ahead of ourselves. I don't think, with regards to what you're saying now. I feel like you've only made a suggestion for signing 2, maybe 3 players there. Obviously, if Martial continues, and bearing in mind he did start to build a bit of a relationship with Rashford. And he's also building a relationship with Bruno as well. Now, if we do decide to sign a Gardo on a longer-term deal, then that only leaves 2 positions, really, or 3 I suppose, if and when Pogba does go, which would be right mid, which obviously the guy Jadon Sancho we've been linked with heavily time and time again. Specialist CDM. I still believe to make us complete. I don't mind bringing in someone. If Matic is going to continue in his form for another, if he can keep doing that for another 18 months, I then don't mind getting someone a bit younger. But if that's not going to be the case, then maybe bringing someone that's 24, 25, like Bruno Fernandes' age, already accomplished in his position, still has another 5, 6, 7 years, seasons ahead of him at a consistent level. We're talking 2 players. We're talking a right winger, Sancho, specialist CDM. We're talking, if Pogba goes, a replacement in Grealish possibly, which seems to be the favourite at the moment. We're talking 2 or 3 players either way you look at it, which I think that's what Ollie will look to do, unless he's looking to bolster the squad. And what you're doing then is, if you're adding squad to the starting lineup as we're talking, then automatically your bench becomes stronger, because you're taking some of those players out of this starting lineup. They're going into your bench. So
even on against City, you know, going back to the City game, you know, bearing in mind that Lingard and Pereira were on the bench, I was looking at the bench and thinking, whoa, hang on for a second.
Mata.
For the first time in a while, like, we actually have a reasonable bench. You know, Bailly's there, Francibi's back, Greenwood and Igalo there, Mata's there. And I'm looking at that, I'm going, you know, we've got there's a decent bench there, you know. So if we've got any issues, we can change things. We could, if we want to be really defensive and try to hold on, you can throw in to sort things out, you know. So if we want to give it more pace, maybe Greenwood can come on for Daniel James. If we want to hold up, Igalo sort of there, want a bit more creativity, maybe Mata to play in a sort of. I'm like,
energizer, and if you want some energy and Man United spirit, then bring in McTominay, and that's what he went with, didn't he? So
exactly, you know.
There are options, like you say. You all of a sudden you buy in players, quality players, to affect the first team, the starting lineup even, and then your bench starts looking stronger. And bearing in mind, two of our best attacking players, our top goal scorer, are still missing from that squad.
Exactly.
You know, in Rashford and Pogba. So I think you take Pogba out of the equation because he'll come back. He'll play maybe 4 or 5 games in the season, and then he's off. He's off to the Euros. You know, a summer of speculation of where he's going to end up, and then he'll end up probably at Juventus or Real Madrid, more than likely. And then we look to replace. Anyway, I think Ollie's going to be smart, and I think he's going to bring in someone regardless of what Pogba does. I think that's what he'll do, because if you bring in Grealish, Grealish can play a multitude of roles as well anyway. So I think, we're in a decent position in terms of pushing forward in terms of our rebuild.
No, I agree, buddy. I agree, and long may it continue. And I think one thing before we move on to that you've got to give Ollie credit for, you know, whatever even happens to him in the summer, is that recruitment has been good. You know, so recruitment has been. I don't think we've had a situation where like every single signing that we've made has made a positive impact. You know, try and
think back to that. Since Fergie's left, since Fergie's left, that's never happened. Even when Fergie was here, if he's had a summer of recruitment, say when he brought in Sebastian Veron and them guys, there's never been an occasion where everyone he's brought in has been effective, like you said, in a positive way, and people has let go that we've not missed. The only person I can say we've missed is under Herrera, really, and maybe Lukaku's, you know, assured goals tally per season. But other than that, he's got rid of a load of deadwood.
No, fair enough. Raymond Moore says, question for you guys: is Rashford going to be the same next season after horrendous injury he suffers this season? Many players are the same after a major injury. Don't my doctor expertise.
You know what time it is, G. You know what time it is.
Will he be the same, medically wise? Well,
do you think, G?
Well, that's an interesting question, Raymond. It's interesting because of the nature of Rashford's injury, and what I will say is it will be very much dependent on how he's handled by United and by England. My concern for Rashford is that there will be pressure from England. I don't think there would be so much pressure for United with how we're doing. I think with Igalo stepping into the field and Marshall coming up, and with Pogba coming back, I think if by the time we get towards the sin, we've got a comfortable run, then maybe there won't be as much pressure for Rashford to come back because we would have sort of been reasonably okay. Assuming, you know, so we're in that situation. The issue for me, I think, is England. And what Rashford suffered from was a stress fracture, a spinal stress fracture in his back. And the problem with stress fractures is that the only really way for stress fractures to overcome them is for you to basically just rest properly. Like with any fractures, but with stress fracture in particular, because they're as a result of constant repetitive strain. And a lot of footballers take painkillers and play through the pain, and that's probably what happened in Rashford's case, which exacerbated matters. What Rashford needs is basically rest, rehabilitation, and recovery. He needs to rest properly, not play in intense situations. if he goes away to play for England, then I would be concerned long-term wise, because if he's well enough to play for England, it means that he'll then come for a pre-season, and from that he'll then go into starting lineup, and if he gets an injury to that site again, it will be worse than the second time. So my advice for United and England coaching staff would be, let him rest. Just trust in likes of Igalo and Martial and others to sort of pick up the slack. And then, and for the England squad to say there are plenty of other potential number nines. Calvert-Lewin, for example, is probably a good example. Look at him. Rashford's been out for a while. Give Calvert-Lewin, for example, the heads up. Maybe Tammy Abraham's injured, so England nines? I think Callum Wilson, probably, even Troy Deeney. There are other England options, number nines that you can use.
Well, but obviously Kane's saying he's going to be back for the Euros, isn't he? And then obviously but wherever he is, I don't know. You'll know better than me than that. But if it depends on what system we play, because obviously we've still got Raheem Sterling, haven't we, as well, and Jadon Sancho. So if you've got a focal point, like you said, maybe Calvert-Lewin or Tammy Abraham, if he's back, if we're playing with a focal number 9, back to the goal kind of guy or whoever, then you don't really need 3 or 4 centre forwards or that kind of thing. So it just depends on how
exactly. I think we can. I think when I look at like Calvert-Lewin is really good in form right now as a number 9, and he's got pace as well. And when you think of the fact that England's front three could be a combination of Sterling, Calvert-Lewin, and Jadon Sancho, then suddenly like, oh wow, okay, this is a threat here, really. So I admit Sterling's form hasn't been particularly great this season, and so there are other options. But I just feel like this isn't Kane and Rashford. I just feel like there are other options, other good, valid options. And if what's his name, Southgate is sensible, he'll actually think, okay, hang on, I can use those other options, look at those things, and not overburden these players who are coming back from injuries. Even if the players themselves like, yeah, I'm fit, I can play for the pain. Yeah. No. Do the right thing for their careers and say, listen, chill out. You can play for us again in the World Cup in 2 years' time or whatever, and do it that way. Because Kane, and there's been rumors around there saying, oh, United are interested in signing Kane for us. I'm of the opinion that we shouldn't go near Kane at all. We shouldn't go near Kane at all because, yes, he is a good forward. He's a good player. But Harry Kane has missed in the last 2 seasons, including this one. Harry Kane has been out for most of the season. He's been back in August. Then he has his injury, in December time-ish. And then he's out for most of the rest of the season until basically May when he's back. And that's happened in the last 2 seasons. I think United should stay clear of players that are, especially players that are towards the latter half of 20s, because Harry Kane is what? Is he 27, 26?
26 going on 27.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We should stay clear of players that are in the latter 22 or something, and like, maybe there's time to kind of, but when you're 27 and when you've been out for almost two seasons fully, what's to say that if we sign him, for example, in the summer, that doesn't happen again? And then suddenly you have a player.
I think it's been longer than that, though, isn't it? I think it's been maybe 3 or 4 seasons, because there was a record that he broke this season that he hadn't scored in August, and that was due to him mainly being either injured or I swear it's more than just 2 seasons.
Yeah, maybe
where he's been injured. Where he continually, there's like, we're talking 2 months. Not 2 weeks or 3 weeks. A couple of months per time. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think, like you say, maybe stay clear of that because of the injury record.
Yeah, I know a lot of United fans be gassed about it, but for me, I would take Igalo over, not because I think Harry Kane isn't better than Igalo, but because at least from what I can see so far, Igalo's fitness is better. So we'll see. Quickly moving on with just the last 2 segments, the Lask versus United match preview, and obviously we're still in the Europa League and we still have a lot of stuff to do. And when the quarterfinals, unlike a certain Arsenal team that is not in Europe anymore. Shout out to my Arsenal fans there. How you doing? You're all right. Okay. Banter FC as always. Much love. But
starting stuff again, man.
The Banter FC, man. So it's the Arsenal are they're not a relevant club in the 21st century. Let's just be real. So there's they were gassing like, oh yeah, we're undefeated in the decades and stuff, and their first defeat of the the 2020s is to
we need to get some Arsenal fans on here, G.
Well, my bro is an Arsenal fan, so we're doing a podcast later. I'm like, you got beaten by, feta cheese. You know what I mean? So you got beaten by feta cheese, Greek feta cheese, man. You got beaten. Like, let's just take the L and just sit down.
He's going harsh, man. Is your brother older or younger than you?
He's younger than me, man. He's I just say he's gone through the time. So, he's Arsenal through and through, and fair play to them. So I think you have to, you just have to. You just have to suffer a lot, I think, being an Arsenal fan. But anyway, we're not talking about Arsenal. We're talking about United and how we're going to go about facing Lask, who are actually top of the Austrian league. They're actually ahead of RB Salzburg. They're a team that we are expected to beat. I know a lot of people don't know a lot about them. But I think from a United point of view, how do you see us setting up against Lask? Do you think that we should, given the games that we obviously have, rotating players, etc., what do you think what should be Ollie's tactic going into this game, Shane?
Because it's the away leg, I think we should set up with your likes of Mata, Pereira, McTominay, because he's going to need game time, match fitness anyway. Put in Bailly, put in Twinzebe, put Brandon Williams back in, Delo, Romero. You've got start Dan James because he's need minutes. Start Igalo, and go with those kind of guys because ultimately, when we come home, we'll know what the job is that we need to do. Do we need to win it or can we relax? So if we can get like a 2 or 3-1 win in Lask, obviously if we can keep a clean sheet, that'd be great. But I don't know enough about Lask to comment, or should I say Lask, to comment about whether or not how dangerous they're going to be. So for me, our main focus has to be trying to achieve Champions League football because it's there this season. With how inconsistent we've been this season, it shouldn't be there, but it is. So for me, plus because we're away, rest these players. Don't even take them on the journey. Let them stay at home. Let them recuperate. Let them get ready for the Spurs game. So for me, I'd change 8 or 9 players that need game time as well.
8 or 9 players?
Yeah, I'd change. Really? I'd literally change it up because you if we had Rashford and Pogba back, that's 2 starters that are effectively there. We shouldn't be taking Bruno. Bruno, when he started against Derby, I was like, nah. You got to decide. For me, you got to decide whether or not you're going for the FA Cup or the Europa League. In terms of the advantage you have the Europa League, you got 2 legs. So the first leg, you suss it out,
and also Champions League football. That's obviously the carrot, the stick. If we
that's exactly it. Not saying don't try and win the Europa League, but you've got two legs. You've got a 2-leg tie to try and win it over. So first one, because we've got another big game against another so-called big team that will hopefully take points off other teams in and around us. We need to be focusing on that one to try and get Champions League. As you say, I believe the likes of Jadon Sancho, he's young enough to be able to miss a season of Champions League football. It's not like saying that if we don't get Champions League, he can't. The deal's off. I don't believe that. We signed Pogba with that being the case. You know what I mean? And Pogba's a little bit further on. You know what I mean?
And also he wants to leave now. So.
Yeah, no, he wants to leave. I'll always say with Pogba, listen. We hadn't, past tense, hadn't kept our end of the bargain in terms of players we surrounded him with. So, when you see the likes of Brandon Williams being able to attack, Bruno Fernandes, Rashford, Martial, you add Pogba back to that. Try and stop Bruno on his own, fine. Try and stop Pogba on his own, fine. Try and stop Rashford on his own, fine. But then when you've got 4, 5, or 6, even including Mason Greenwood off the bench, who players that can affect the game offensively, who can create their own opportunity or create for others, that's a lot harder to stop. And that's what Man City have, and that's what not so much in the same type of way, but Liverpool. But they, the more players you have that can affect the game in that way, the better. So for me, if we can take some pressure off, we should never have started with Bruno Fernandes against Derby, I don't think, because when he went up for a header and then he came down on his back and he's rolling around, I'm like, this is, come on, man. It's just typical. Luckily, he's made it tougher stuff and he was fine. But let's not make that an issue going forward. Let's use it. We're away. Austria don't need to be adding more miles to these guys. So, let's rest up. 8 or 9 players. There's no need to go for it. We'll know what we need to do on the home leg, whether we need to put out some big guns or not, and just go from there. And no need to take a risk with other players when we've got bigger fish to fry. FA Cup and top 4 would be nice for me.
No, I agree. Oh, Raymond Moore's in the comments. Sorry, I'll just put that out here. So age doesn't affect much until early 40s. Messi and Iniesta are still balling. Even Ryan Giggs was still best in Lingard and Pereira during his final years. And to that, I definitely agree. I think that comes from, I think, also football intelligence, though. When there is football intelligence, because as you get older, you do have to become more intelligent, and it isn't all just about pace.
I can't say that runs to everyone. So sorry.
No worries, man. No worries, G. No worries. It's just, when is that off? Tell that to the cats. When is that off? Actually, when is that?
Thursday that comes off. So okay. Can't wait, man. Can't wait.
Hopefully, the next podcast you'll be able to be like hands free. Like, hey guys,
I'll be able to do thumbs up with both. Not like that.
But I think it was right. I think that there is Mata, for example, doesn't have any pace, and there'll be certain games that Mata shouldn't play in. But Mata still gives you a lot more in terms of creativity than, as would David Silva, for example, and they give you a lot more in that respect than currently anyway Pereira and Lingard do. They do. It is just what it. Sorry, it is just what it is. Just because they don't, and it's hopefully something that the likes of, say, Daniel James, for example, will change. But they don't seem to be able to. They don't have that football IQ. That makes any sense, and that's something that's something huge. That you can. It's huge, and it's something that you can and should work on as a younger. So when I look at someone like Cristiano Ronaldo, even though he's not in his prime, he's obviously adapted his game to be able to fit into the situation that the team requires him to play. And Igalo, even same thing. Even though he's obviously spreading, he's doing that. So I'm hoping, going back to the last, that, like you said, that we do make a few key changes. I do think, if I would say my lineup, obviously Romero in goal, that's easy.
Yeah.
I think Bailly comes in as a centre back. It's easy. Dallo probably at right back to give Wan-Bissaka a rest. Probably I'd have Lindelof with Maguire, because I think Maguire, with the injury ankle thing, touch and go, maybe give him some time. Brandon Williams or possibly Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw seems okay, so maybe just to keep the stability, possibly Shaw to start, with maybe Brandon Williams to come off on for him. Then in the midfield, I'd rest Matic, and as you said, probably bring McTominay into the fray. And then I'd probably put McTominay. Pogba's not going to be fit by then, so midfield options are going to be a bit. What we're going to do here?
Pereira.
Yeah, you're just like you think you're gonna have to play some of these guys.
What about Timothy Fosu-Mensah? He's back now. But
Maybe,
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know how close to match fitness, but you're only going to get that if you're
a
playing.
part of me
I
feels
suppose.
if Pogba is fit to play on Saturday, then maybe you play Fred again, and then play a Pereira with and then obviously you sort out, and then if Pogba is fit, then you can then potentially drop Fred to the bench, play Pogba, Fernandes, and Matic to come in with them coming from the bench possibly, and then maybe up top, Ogalo's obviously going to be there. I think you play Ogalo, and then you play Dan James on the left, and then Greenwood on the right to give Martial the rest. I think so. I think Martial needs to be rested for Spurs. At least that's how I think they should set up.
Definitely.
Is that reasonable?
I'd go with that. No, I'd go with that for sure. I think, like you say, Matic, we need to manage his minutes, as you say. So, I think part of it is his resurgence, is the fact that he's had an extended rest through injury, but he's come back, he's assessed the situation, and he's hit the ground running again. So he's been a surprise. He's been part of the resurgence from Manchester United and consistency and the solidity as well, I feel. So no, I completely, like you say, Romero picks itself. The defence, we've got options, midfield options. How long ago were we saying, we were looking towards the youth because we didn't have the options? Now people's come back from injury. We've made 2 signings in January, and we're in a a lot nicer position. So for me, you carry on, use this 2-legged tie as both a gauge and an opportunity to rest players. And I think that's the way you go through the rest of the season until you get to the cup final of the Europa League, hopefully.
Do you think that we can, with the teams obviously remaining, do you think that we can win the Europa League?
Yeah, I really do. I really do. Okay. Inter are the only club that would potentially scarper that, but midfield wise, because they match up with us pretty well. But I think what we've done this season, I think teams will be scared of us. I really do. I really do now. I think they're worried about our firepower, the defensive solidity. But yeah, Inter's the only team that I think can trouble us, because obviously Lukaku will have a vendetta that he want, so he'll be hell bent on trying to beat us.
Well, Ashley Young's there. Well, how many ex-United players have a vendetta? Like Sanchez is there, Ashley Young is there, you've got a lot of scores. Like a third of the squad, they've got a vendetta.
they've got a score to settle with United, didn't they? Let's be honest. So I think that's the only team that would definitely worry me in terms of actually winning it.
I'd be interested to see if Aaron Wan-Bissaka pockets Lukaku. So just for like, I'm going in like pocket.
the only thing I've yet to see is physically, in terms of strength. Someone tests Wan-Bissaka, but you don't really get that on the wings, you see. So that'd be more in a central area. So but he's definitely got the speed wise. But Lukaku, I don't think people understand how fast Lukaku is.
He's very quick. He's very quick.
Like Rashford even conceded that Lukaku's quicker than him. And he's certainly one of the most powerful strikers out there. So I think
that's why Bayern if we play into Bayern needs to play in that centre back defence in Europe.
Absolutely, because Lindelof is weak. He's not quick. He's just scared of the challenge sometimes. Listen, Lindelof, he's done okay, but nah. For me, it's Bailly and Maguire. If you're playing a 3, you can do one of quite many things. You can go Luke Shaw and then Brandon Williams wing back. You can go Bailly and then Shaw wing back, and then you can put Wan-Bissaka. I don't think he's going to do that because we've got too many other options that can play central defence. So, but Inter's the only team I think we'd need to worry about realistically.
What about Sevilla? I mean, Sevilla, I think, are also there. I think they're also a shout, especially where they are.
They're the most, obviously, they're the most successful team, aren't they, in terms of, Europa League? But No, again, you know,
also
they've got
they did knock us
know-how.
out of the Champions League with Jose Mourinho.
but that was like one of the softest performances or knockouts I've ever seen.
Yeah.
We were so lackluster on that day.
I watched it.
I just couldn't even put my finger on why we were so bad.
Mourinho as well as the Spurs. Well, we'll kind of come to it. In fact, the transition to this to that segment, because I think it's good, is because we're talking about Spurs versus United match. It's the last bit, and I think one of the reasons why we were so bad is because a certain Jose Mourinho was at the helm of that game and thought that was a reasonable performance. And it just seems to be, it's almost like how the times, football is such a funny game because suddenly, you know, I think it was on December time that Spurs were getting results and, you know, like Trophy Mourinho and, you know, it was going to be a new era, etc. And now with several injuries later, the most recent one being, I think Bergwijn now is apparently out for like goodness knows how many weeks. So Spurs don't have Kane, they don't have Son, they don't have Sissoko, they don't have Bergwijn. I think Ali also might potentially be suspended because of his comments, I think, for the FA and something like that, potentially. So you've got 5 key players in that squad that are all out. The only person being Lucas Moura that I think that is there, but they have no front line, really. Ericsson is obviously gone, you know.
I'd just say for that in particular, yes, it bodes well for us. But depending on how next season goes, that'll depend on how Tottenham are for the next 10 years. That's what I'll say, because obviously, if people decide to start walking out the door, a la Harry Kane, like Ericsson has, I think people, people say, oh, he's this, he's that. He's still only 27, and he's walked out the door in his so-called prime years, which is never a good sign. What happens? Obviously, they're missing, players that any team in the world would miss. You know what I mean? So I don't think
I'd buy Son and Lucas Moura in a heartbeat.
But there you go. There you go. So Song is huge, absolute massive miss for them. And I'm personally glad he's not there. Not to say I'm glad he's injured, but I'm just glad he's not there for that game. If he could return back from injury after we played him, brilliant. I don't wish injury or ill health on anyone, but as for Dele Alli, his form's gone out the window as well. Just when I see Mourinho, it looks like a fake smile as well. Because obviously he was saying before he went to Spurs, I've learned, I've this, I've that, I've seen errors of my ways that I've changed. Something about leopard and spots come to mind when it comes to Mourinho. Do you know what I mean?
Spots,
do you know what I mean? That fake smile doesn't fool me one iota. So it'd be interesting to see what he does next season, because he must have something in place with Daniel Levy.
Will they even be given? Will he even be given a season next season? Because I mean, if you look at Spurs now, they're not really that much different. I mean, I predict, I predict that we can go to, Ollie having already done the double on Lampard and done the double on Pep. I predict that he will do the double on Mourinho, because I don't. Based on the injuries, I generally don't know how. I'd be interested to see actually how he's going to set up, because I don't know who he's even going to play, because he's got no recognized number 9 now, because Bergwijn, he wasn't even really a full number 9, is out.
No. He's a winger. He's a winger. Steven Bergwijn.
Luke. So what? You're going to play Dele Alli as a number 9? You're going to play?
I think that's what he did as a false 9.
And Dele Alli probably isn't going to be there because of the ban. So Lucas Moura, is he going to be the number 9? Like, what is going to even happen to this?
Well,
to this team?
he done that as a good job in the Champions League semi-final last season. So. But it's then who do you go in putting in his place?
And he also had support. He obviously had, Dele was there. He had Son. He had they had even Sissoko.
Kane on the bench, wasn't he? Yeah.
Well, I think Kane was there.
Kane again was he was on the bench injured, weren't he? Or did he come back for the final?
He only came back for the final, where they obviously lost. Oh, Raymond Moore says
because he was injured again.
Because he was, because he didn't come back until and Pochettino made the fatal mistake of changing the team to accommodate Harry Kane, which was stupid. Raymond Moore says, thoughts on Tahith Chong signs new contract with United? I think this is a waste of money. Interesting. Shane, quick thoughts on that?
It is a waste of money. It is it is definitely a waste of
Mm.
money. I don't know why we've signed him when we're looking for a right winger this season. When he technically isn't good enough. Physically, he's got physical gifts, you know, but again, he's 20 now. He will just end up like another Andreas Pereira, really, going out on loan or just knocking around the squad.
I do think he needs to go out on loan. I think a good loan move to probably either to a championship side, or I would argue increasingly to like a German side, like, you know,
yeah.
a Dortmund,
No,
like
listen,
that
going
might
to
help.
Spain and all that lot, no good to you. No good
Mm.
to you. Like you say, championship, like you say, or Germany, where they've got the technical ability and the tactical coaching. Going to Spain is no good to him. Like what happened with Adnan Januzaj. For me, likewise,
like a Leipzig or a Dortmund or one of those sorts of teams, you could think, okay, you know,
Mönchengladbach would be another good one for him as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, you're thinking, you know, I could see potentially, you know, something there where he'll get like, you know, because obviously Jadon Sancho's the classic example. Let's be frank, he was a nobody. No one really knew anything about him, and he went obviously to Dortmund, and they made him a world-class player that was saying, you know, is well worth at City. He was probably worth tens of millions at best. Now he's worth over 100.
If that,
you know,
if that at City. But
exactly.
you see, interesting point there with Jadon Sancho. I remember the that side that won the Under-17 World Cup. In that side was Jadon Sancho, Callum Hudson-Odoi from Chelsea, Ryan Brewster from Liverpool, and Angel Gomez, who captained that side from obviously Manchester United. Now, the star of that tournament was Angel Gomez and probably Ryan Brewster. Jadon Sancho done really well as well, so did Callum Hudson-Odoi. But Ryan Brewster's gone out on loan this season. Angel Gomez still languishing in the under-23s. Hasn't played hardly at all. Maybe 4 games, is it?
The impression I'm getting is that like he's unlike Chong. He's refusing to sign a new contract. I mean, I've seen.
I would. I can't blame him because how many times has Chong not only started ahead of Gomez but been on the bench and come on, whereas Gomez not even been on the bench. But in terms of quality,
I think that's because he's refusing to sign a new contract. I think United are the hierarchy in particular very, very petty, where, you know, and we all know there's always been background issue with United. We've known that, and those issues, even though we're on a form, are still a problem. But you know what I don't want to see with Angel Gomez, which happened with Pogba, was you let this guy go to Juventus or something, and then in basically 2-3 years he becomes world class, and you're like, whoa. So at worst, if we we can't, because I would have said, oh, can we put like a buyback clause in? But we can't do that because
he's not going to sign a new contract.
He's going to be a free agent basically. So, you know, he looks like the type of player that if he goes to the right team, and there've been a few teams that have been interested already, he could do
Munich, PSG, Juventus, Dortmund. All these teams have been interested in him. This was summer gone. They was trying to sign him.
And now they can be quiet and they can sign him for free in the summer. He'll be a free agent.
Yeah.
This is again United.
For me, he's either going to be Adnan Januzaj or Paul Pogba in terms of you know reaching potential.
But he's not going to be Paul Pogba if he stays United. I think.
Nah, definitely not.
Especially now that Bruno Fernandes now come into the picture. I just can't see how he will get the necessary game time.
He won't. He won't.
But
anyway, he knows he's got to leave.
No, I agree. But anyway, what are your, just as we sort of wrap things up, what are your final score predictions for this game for Spurs versus United? Because I think we both agree that we should probably win this game. How do you see it ending up?
3-1 to us.
3-1. Okay.
Yeah. I feel like we'll set up. I think it will confuse Ollie, the fact that they've got so many players missing and he doesn't know what they'll do. I feel like Mourinho will set up to not get beat, which in turn will frustrate us. to a degree, but because we've got Bruno in the side now, I think if he plays Mata and Bruno together, like you said, that's a bit more creativity. I don't feel like this is the game where we need to go gusto or what have you in terms, because there's no Eriksen anymore. There's no Musa Sissoko for your power running. Dele Alli isn't the most creative. You don't have Kane or.
What I don't want, sorry, what I don't want is for Ollie to. We should play 4-3-3, or a bet, or 4, or a version of that, because Tottenham are not going to be playing with a recognised number 9. So there's no reason why we should go to Spurs playing 3 at the back, 5 at the back, even with 2 holding midfielders. There's no reason for us to do that because they have no recognised number 9. They have no forward. They have no. So I would be very, very annoyed if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer plays anything else than some variant of 4-3-3 to go out and attack the Spurs team, because they have no. Yes, I know Lucas Moura is always a threat, but really, Lucas Moura's on his own. Are you meaning to tell me that like our back 4 and Matic can't deal with Lucas Moura on his own? They've got to be able to, surely.
And there's no wing threat either.
No,
Bergwijn's injured.
No, Bergwijn's. So they've got no one. So Lucas Moura, I guess we're playing for the 9.
Eric Lamela.
Lamela. Yeah, but even then, like, he's sort of been in and out of the team. He's not really been.
Lamela's not a worry. He's not a worry.
No, it's like, and where does he play? Does he play it? I just think that it would be a waste. It would be a big waste if we go to Spurs and we play 3 at the back, or some variant of that, or even worse, 2 holding midfielders. Because I still think we don't need that. You can put Matic and McTominay there. We should go out with the means to say we're going to hold on to the ball, and we're going to create something, and we're going to score.
Absolutely.
And if we score the first goal, like we do usually in these games, then I think that it'll be difficult for Spurs, because they are going to struggle to be able, even against Burnley, when they went down, it was only because they got a penalty, that they were able to level Burnley. That was it. They didn't score They didn't score from open play. I mean, they had a few chances with Ali, but like I said, if Ali's now out of this game potentially, I'm not 100%, but I was reading that he's going to get like a ban. I don't know when it's implemented, but he's going to get some sort of ban from. I think it was a tweet.
It's got to be sooner rather than later, because obviously we're running out of games, aren't we? So you'd imagine that they'd want to do it sooner.
Yeah, exactly. So then I just can't see. I just think the only reason that we drop points in this game is if Ollie sets out defensive, and I do not see, given Tottenham's issues, why he would do that. He shouldn't, So I would.
We've not set up as a 4-3-3 though once this season. It's always been a 2-man holding, and I don't think that complements Bruno either yet, because he's having to instead of going forward all the time, he needs, I think, one more pass. You know what I mean? Oh, getting a call coming through there for some reason. Sorry about that.
Oh, are you there?
Yeah, I'm still there. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. It's a bit quieter, but I can still hear you.
Sorry. Let me just sort that. I got a call coming through for some reason.
Right. Okay, I'm with you.
Sorry.
Okay. No, go for it.
But no, I feel like if we it just needs to be brave. It just needs to be braver.
Yes. Yeah.
I can't imagine he'd start Mata and Bruno. I'd like to see if he doesn't go with wingers. Because we don't have Rashford, and Dan James maybe a little bit tired after that last game. If he goes with Mata and Bruno behind, and then a supporting cast of 3 behind, maybe. I don't know, just some kind of variant of creativity behind him, and then you got the dynamism of Fred and Matic or McTominay, whichever. And you can fit in maybe another midfielder, central midfielder. So, like I say, their wingers aren't going to be. They don't have any at the moment, unless just look at Lamela. But yeah, no, I feel like we should take it to him. There's no reason not to now. Do you know what I
mean? I think that is a point. If, and as we know that Mourinho is going to park the bus, That's going to happen. He's going to park the bus.
Yeah.
And he's got, and to a certain extent, he's got no choice because that's all the players that he has. So we need, and it's interesting you mentioned Mata, is that we need to basically unlock that defense, and we need creativity. And
yeah, absolutely.
you know, the only thing I guess you could maybe argue is that I don't know what Mourinho's objective is this season, because if Mourinho's objective this season is to push for top 4, then they're out of the FA Cup, they're out of the Carabao Cup, they're probably going to be out of the Champions League. Let's be real.
Yeah.
So if Mourinho's chances is if it's a push for top 4, then he needs to come out and win. You know what I mean? So I'm interested. I still anticipate that he will put 10 men behind the ball.
Set up to not get beat. That's what he'll do.
Yeah, but a draw is not going to help Spurs at this stage. Spurs need to win. They need to win games. If so, I'm just curious what Mourinho, because come Tuesday, we will know the fate of Spurs. And so if Spurs get knocked out this week, I mean, as a Spurs fan, I'm not a Spurs fan, I would be very frustrated if Mourinho set up not to lose when the only thing that Spurs have to play for reasonably is to fight for top 4. They have to go out and win, and force
the issue, isn't it?
And force the issue, and we'll see whether they'll do that. But yeah, like I said, we need to try and unlock their defense, and we need to be, as you said, brave, because we shouldn't be playing 3 centre backs, or in my opinion, 2 holding midfielders against Spurs when they really don't have that much to do with us. And yes, okay, Mora and Lamela can be good on the break and what have you, but so can we. More so than them. We can trouble their defense. And we still beat them. I'll bet luckily 1-0 at Old Trafford with essentially a fully full squad with Son and Moore, and I think Kane was fit by that time. We still were able to beat them 1-0 with, and
we shut them down. We shut them down really. We didn't let them get going. Yeah.
Now we've got an even better team. I'll bet when we're missing Rashford and Pogba, than we had at that time. They have a much weaker team. We should be able to do it.
Yeah. Well, like you said, as long as we, like you said, the only way you can see us losing or not getting the result we need is if we don't set out to go and beat them. If we set up to not to sort of if you like, just soak up pressure and then trying to hit them on the break. I don't think that's what we need. Because I feel like Spurs will always try to play not normally, but because it's Mourinho, he will set them up not to get beat. So we need to have that. So it's a bit of tactical chess here. So I feel like we should be looking to we should set up to beat them and go at them basically.
No, I agree. Just last few comments before with trying to sort 2 things out. Last comments from Raymond Moore. I don't want Ole. I assume you mean I don't want Ole to play it too safe. Mourinho's still a good manager, and was it? I don't mind if Ole plays safe. Mourinho's still a good manager, and knows how to beat us. Oh yeah, I don't want. Yeah. Yes, I think Mourinho. Is Mourinho still a good manager, though? I mean, that's another debate in and of itself, because, I mean, even though Mourinho does not have the players, we're a lot of saying he's got injuries, etc., etc. What has he really achieved, really, in his time at Spurs? So these guys got knocked out by Norwich in the FA Cup, man. And they made changes. They struggled to beat Burnley recently, and I'm just trying to think, what was it? The last couple of results have been, who did they get? Obviously, they got spanked by Lampard's Chelsea, who we spanked already. Twice, exactly. Yeah. He's going to be, and Ollie hopefully will do the double. I mean, there was a lot of people saying he's got a lot of injuries, and fair play. I think that it's a valid criticism. But at the same time, I didn't see a lot. Kane got injured first.
Before that,
before that,
there wasn't. The signs wasn't there. The signs weren't there saying that they were going to do bits this season.
And also, so the difference between Pochettino and Mourinho in that respect is that Pochettino really did prioritize youth. Pochettino went into the academy. He's the one that got he obviously got Winks in through.
Yeah,
I think that centre back Walker Peters, the other centre back who was actually quite good. I think fourth.
Yes,
Don't know where he is now. Obviously Kane,
Ben Davis as well.
And Davis, so a few things. So, because Pochettino was so involved in the youth setup as well, if Poch was still there in this sort of situation, I would imagine that he would have said, right, okay, he would have given that forward the chance. He would have been able to cope somewhat and play good football at the same time. Mourinho is just going to use this as an excuse for not finishing the top four and for getting backing. And the reality is that what's his name? Levy has already come out and said, if we don't make Champions League, you're not getting a budget. So, as I expected, because it's Daniel Levy and he's a tightwad, So, what do you do to that? So, this for me was, I always said at the start, like, I don't get why he's going to Spurs. This doesn't make any sense.
No,
Daniel Levy wants full control of the club. You're going to a club where you're going to have none of that. And if you don't get top four, which should put more pressure onto this, you're not going to get a summer budget, and and probably you're going to have to try and sell players. And Daniel Levy, it's going to be difficult to sell players because Daniel Levy wants good money for said players on the contract. You can't just say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to sell thingy for 20 million to raise funds." He's like, no. I want 80 million for Harry Winks. No deal. You know what I mean? So I see Mourinho being a very big figure.
Yeah. So like I say, Mourinho's smart at the moment. I just see because he's trying to keep up with the front from what he said. Oh yeah, I've learned at my time at Man United. I see what I was doing, this, that, and the other. That wasn't really me. So now you've got this front of Mourinho who, it's not really befitting of him, and it's not. That's maybe partially why, he, like you say, may not make it past the preseason. Who knows?
No, I agree. Fair enough. Right, I think we're done. It's been a really good, guys, and thanks for watching. Always enjoy the 100 the podcast. Shane, it's been a pleasure as always, man. You're great to have on.
Always, brother.
And again, another shout out to you guys, for anyone who's watching and will be listening. Please head over to United Man channel, like, share, and subscribe to stuff. There's a lot of really good content. Shout out to obviously Kieran and Draco Evolve, who are not here, who would love to be here.
Back soon.
They'll be back soon, and we'll be having some good banter where hopefully we can continue riding this positivity for Manchester United. So stay tuned. Thanks everyone for watching, and have a nice evening, and cheers.
Take care. See you later.
And we are